What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Viall Files Going Deeper edition. We have a great show for you. The one, the only Josh Peck. Is it Josh? Does he go by Josh? I was about to say Joshua Peck, but then I don't even know.
It's just Josh.
If it's just...
I think it's just Josh. His mother might call him Joshua,
yeah,
but I don't think we should.
Anyway, he's a goddamn delight.
Oh my God. Yeah. I can't wait to be friends with him.
Might you be his new babysitter?
Yeah, so Josh took my phone number so that I can watch his child. And, Nick, if I turn in my 2 weeks notice, you'll know it's become full-time.
That'd be fine.
If I leave you for Josh Peck.
Full-time nanny. Yeah, he's great. We have a fun, exciting episode with Josh. We get into some we did two. Josh really wanted to do texting office hours.
He was so good at it too.
Yeah, I think we're gonna bring him back for next.
Such good advice.
He is like, we love all our guests. Some people have more of a knack for empathetic, thoughtful counsel.
And he was picking up details from the callers, and he's like, "So let's circle back to this." Yeah. Like, honestly,
he really enjoyed it.
Imagine the energy in this room if we combine Josh and Justin Long.
Wild stuff. I went to a party. I had a party. I had a game night.
At his own house.
I feel like I have something I have to get off my chest. I feel like
we gotta confess. Huh?
We had a game night. Well, I feel like it's their fault. We had a game night, and what's the name of the game called, Amanda?
Called Celebrity. And it's a game where everybody writes down words or phrases or things on a piece of paper. And then you break up into two teams and you take turns trying to get your teammates to guess the words, etc. And the first round, you can use as many words as you want to describe. The second round, after you've put all of the words back in the hat, so you kind of know the pool that you're working with, you act it out. And then the final round, you only get one word.
So I had played this once before with family years ago. And we had it was Erica and Scott, because it was the night after they were guests. Matt King and Patricia came, Connor Wood, a.k.a. Fibula, a handful of other people.
Are you just going to start running like a TikTok house out of your home? You're like their manager?
Matt's more of a YouTube space.
I don't know.
Anyway, they've all become friends. But become friends. I don't really know. They're all friends,
acquaintances.
But it's an evolving, developing friend group.
Mm-hmm.
And now
it's not the unconditional love stage of friendship.
Yeah. We're definitely not in the unconditional love stage. It was let's have a game night. LA, it's a melting pot. You have to try to make friends, and so there's 15 or so people, and it's a perfect game. If you're not familiar with this game, to play with large groups of people, because it's just hard to
can't play Monopoly with that many people.
So everyone gets 3 scratch papers, and you're supposed to write any word. So now here's 3 words, and I went to my corner to write down my words, and I thought to myself, okay, well, what should we write? We're all adults. Let's spice it up. Let's make it fun. I'm thinking. So I was I'll write 2 normal words. I think my first word was whistle, and then swinging. But ironically, given the context of this rest of the story, I was thinking swinging.
We're off to a great start, especially with whistle too.
Who aren't watching, Nick is doing a P and V motion with his finger.
No, I'm not. I'm swinging on a swing.
And whistle is also an interesting.
Why whistle?
The song Whistle.
I'm not familiar.
You're sexualizing whistles, Allie?
There's a literal song where he's talking about whistle baby, and it's about a BJ.
I think it's a reach. Is that? I'm not. Anyway, I was just thinking you could sexualize anything. Anyways, I was thinking normal word. And my last word, I was you know what? I'm going to spice it up. I'm thinking we're all adults, Cards Against Humanity. They have some crazy shit in there. So I'm going to throw in a word that I think would be, it's funny and weird and would be funny to see people act out.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose the word cuckold. So for any of you who don't know what that word is, it's basically when 2 people in a relationship, one person enjoys watching their partner I guess, have sex or do something sexual with someone else.
Yeah.
Not swinging. It's like swinging, if in the sexual sense, it's more niche. It's a niche type of open relationship.
I also think there's usually like kind of like a dynamic around it of like sort of being like the person who's watching being more like submissive and like it sort of being like.
So anyways, I just kind of thought it popped in my head. I laughed. I wrote it down. I also spelled it wrong, which
it's not his strong suit.
It's not my strong suit. And then as we started playing, all the words were just like sandwich and
flour,
just real vanilla stuff. And I started to panic. And I'm thinking, I don't really know all these people too well. I was comfortable with like Erica and Scott, and I'm like, that's fine. But then I realized that some people in this group might not even know what it is. And some people in this group I know to be more like, there was someone in the group whose parents are pastors. And then I started like being like, maybe this was a bad decision. Like, oh my God, I got real self-conscious. Internally, I'm panicking while everyone's playing the game.
He's like, how do I get them in the pool?
It was just like, and I was hoping maybe someone like, and then there were a couple of times where people would be like, I don't know what this is. And they kind of like talk, like whatever. And I'm like,
oh, so it got rejected a few times.
No, I wasn't sure.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it did. It definitely could have.
Was there anything else that was questionable?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Anyway, just like a scene out of a movie, Connor Wood comes up. And then Matt King had to leave early. He had to go record a podcast. And he gets up and I see it. There's one left in. So it's not as if like, it's just like a rapid fire game. It's not if someone just said it, acted like it's like, hey, it's a fun word. Here's a kinky, weird word that's like, no. And my nightmare was that someone was going to make a big deal about it. And Connor gets up. It's the last one. And Connor made my nightmare come true. And he starts like getting flushed in the face and start acting all weird as if like, how dare someone write this word? And he like started apologizing to the group. And really like, I felt truly shamed. And like, I was like, oh my God, this is my nightmare. I'm like, this is... And then he started making fun of the person who spelled it wrong, which was me. And I can't. I'm not a good speller. And the funny thing is, as soon as while I was panicking, I was like, I know I spelled it wrong. I know. I don't know why I was thinking
that was the cherry on top.
And so I'm just like panicked. Everyone's like, who wrote it? I'm just like shutting the fuck up because like they're shaming me or the person who wrote it at the time. They didn't know. And it's like, who wrote it? And then people started blaming Matt. He's like, oh, Matt probably did it. He probably like knew he had to leave and he just like dropped this bomb and like dish out. I started this like blaming everyone. Like, wow, was it you?
Deflect,
like, that
deflect,
was crazy.
deflect.
And yeah. And then we played another round. And the next round, everyone's saying the craziest fucking shit. And honestly, it made it way more fun. And I wanted to be like, fuck you guys. See, like, I made this game fun because I clearly gave everyone the freedom to write some crazy ass shit. And it really did make it more fun.
So everyone still thinks it was Matt?
I don't know. Because even after the game, they were just saying, who wrote it? Like, as if it was like, I was like, I do not feel safe I feel like I'm going to be shamed.
Like...
And you should do a YouTube style apology video where it's like, hey guys, I'm going to address.
Yeah. So like, anyways,
send it to the group chat.
If there's people in this group who think Matt did it, Matt, if you've been blamed for this, I'm sorry. Connor, fuck you for making me feel.
Do we think any of these people listen to the podcast?
Probably not.
Okay.
I bet someone will DM like it. I'm confident in this getting back to them.
Cool.
Internet, do your thing.
Anyways, I felt like I just had to get it off my chest. And
this is a safe space.
And I told Amanda about it because honestly, I was just like, the next day, I was like, Natalie, I think Natalie suspected it might be me. And the next day, she's like, what were your 2 words? I'm like, I was cuckold. Like, it was me.
Natalie's like, how's your day going? He's like, I wrote cuckold last night.
I just had to get it off my chest. And then she just laughed. I told Amanda about it, and appropriately, she was like, whatever. And then you played it weirdly enough that game.
And then it was by coincidence, like literally that night we were playing that game at a party I was at. And so I wrote down cuckold and sent a photo. And nobody minded.
No one made a big deal about it.
It was loose.
I truly felt shamed by the group. It was I was hyperventilating inside. Anyway,
My pro tip though is the next time you play that game, write down someone in the room if you want to like stir up some shit.
yeah. Did you? Are you the one who told me that?
Yeah, I did it. Well, because I once played it. My ex's family was big game family, and they played it at Christmas. And I wrote down my ex's dad, and it kind of it caused.
And they described him as
one word they used to describe him was anal.
Oh my God.
So I really stirred up some shit.
No, weirdly enough, yeah, the first round, you know what people did? They used it as a way to like promote their stuff. They wrote down their podcasts and like shows. I was like, you fuckers.
That's embarrassing.
That's worse than cuckold.
Now, I don't know if it was the person who wrote down their show or someone wrote down someone else's show. That remains to be seen. But people's like content was in the pile. And I got shamed for throwing in a dirty word. Anyway, we have a great episode for you. The one, the only Josh Peck is with us. And next week we'll be getting back into the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp of it all.
From a legal perspective.
Because a lot's going on, obviously, this week. And we have a lawyer coming in to give us some legal knowledge, amongst other things. And the rest, well, is a surprise. So let's get to Josh. Attention, listeners, are you ready to be blown away? Siren alert. You asked for it, and they listened. Our friends at Manscaped just relaunched the Ultra Smooth package. It's back, baby. That's right. Your new favorite tool and complement to the Lawnmower 4.0 to keep your boys smooth. Well, hey, listen, I don't care if it's your boys or your boyfriend's boys or someone's boys. Manscaped is doing great work in the male grooming department. Whether it's their Lawnmower 4.0 or the other great items that they have. They also have amazing underwear. I don't know if you know that.
They have like a
ball powder.
They have like body. They have like a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, a body spray, deodorant. I gifted that to my friend who is a fitness instructor. He's always sweaty. And his boyfriend asked to move in with him. Is it because of their love or is it because of Manscaped?
I literally use the Manscaped deodorant. That is my current deodorant. I love it. It's really nice. And there's no aluminum in it, which is really important for me.
There you go. And the important thing, too, also is that no reason to have hairy balls or nicked skin or you know, like
there's no need for that.
There's no need for that. It's
Nick
amazing.
doesn't need nicks.
It's amazing how you can close your eyes and go to town down there without any fear. It's a comfortable thing. Your guy, your man, your men in your life, I bet there's a lot of times where it's just a little unmanageable down there. Get them some Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code VIALL at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code VIALL at manscaped.com. Smooth out your fellas with the relaunched Ultra Smooth package from the fellas at Manscaped. Your balls will thank you. Their balls will thank you.
Thank you. That's how they sound.
No one likes waiting on a paycheck, especially when you've got bills. Good thing there's Chime. Now you can get your paycheck up to 2 days early with direct deposit. That's up to 2 more days to save, pay bills, and generally just feel good about your money situation. But Chime is more than just getting paid early. It's also award-winning mobile app checking account, debit card, and optional savings account.
Nick, did you know that I keep track of all of my money on an Excel spreadsheet every month?
They do, actually.
And then I input everything that I'm paid based on like the day it comes in, and I like prep it ahead of time. But I have my friend's 30th coming up, and his boyfriend is like, hey, can you pay me for X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, not until freaking 14th of May. But do you know how I get it early?
Chime.
Yeah.
It's super easy.
It's really easy. And now we can say cheers to a dirty 30.
Cheers to a dirty 30 and no needless fees.
Amen. Let's spend that on booze.
So what are you waiting for? Hopefully not your paycheck. Get started with Chime today. Applying for a free account takes less than 2 minutes. Get started at chime.com/VIALL. That's chime.com/VIALL. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank, NA, members FDIC. Early access to direct deposit. Funds depend on payer. Josh, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming, man. We've it's like I've anticipated this so much. I feel like we've done it in our heads. I've visualized this conversation. I'm really excited for you to be here.
I already feel like we all have a shorthand, and I'm just honored to be here.
Yeah. I don't even know.
Very
What,
positive vibes from Josh. I love it.
Come on, why not, right?
Do you describe yourself as like an optimistic, constantly happy person?
It's the antidepressants. I really don't have a say in the matter.
do you take antidepressants?
Which ones?
No, but I
Which
toy
brand
with
are
it. Sorry?
Which brand are you? I'm Wellbutrin.
Ooh, so is my mom. No. Sorry, Mom. You guys can cut that out or leave it in. Hey, I don't think she listens to the pod. No offense.
None taken.
She's 77. I don't know if she knows how to get podcasts. But I don't, you know what? I'm constantly thinking about and considering it, but I am not currently on one. But I am happy to join the SSRI gang at any time.
When you feel down,
Yes.
what makes you feel down?
I have what I like to call the shitty committee in my head. And it just depends what the volume is when I wake up. But it tends to wake up a few minutes before I do. And it starts telling me all the reasons why I'm not enough or why things are not going to work out. Pretty textbook.
Do you feel like things haven't worked out? Because I feel like you're quite successful.
But isn't that the
It's all
thing?
relative.
Yeah.
Well, it also is like if data could be thrown in the face of even mild, mental illness or anxiety or depression, in many cases it would just be eradicated, right?
Mhm.
But it doesn't do well with reality. I have, I've been sober like. Sorry, I'm just completely opening up. It's like we've been sitting here for a while. I've been sober for almost 14 years or over 14 years, and sometimes I'll call my sponsor and I'll just like normal catastrophizing that I think many people do. Oh God, like if this, I'm so worried this isn't going to work out, and if it doesn't, what will then happen? And if I come to him with that kind of a problem, he'll go, "Yeah, I can't help with the pretend."
Mm.
Like, if you have a real problem.
Oh, that's what your therapist says?
No, my sponsor.
Sponsor.
My
Oh,
therapist has to be cooler because I'm paying him. But-
Gotcha. Your
but-
sponsor says it. That's good to know. Well, I'm a worrier.
Sure.
The way you talk, I relate to that mindset, and I can go down rabbit holes. Like I can plant a seed of doubt in my head of anxiety or fear or whatever, and I can make it seem very like this is happening, and only for like something eventually to completely just debunk it, or worrying about like
Right.
why someone doesn't text you back,
Yes.
or something like that, and then all of a sudden that can turn into like everyone hates me kind of thing.
Right.
I have that ability to like ruminate and snowball those things, but that's a very interesting comment to say. I can't help you with what did they say?
With the pretend.
And does that help you when in that moment?
Yes, because it sort of takes the air out of it. Like, I'm not going to even walk down this road with you because to do it would be this mental sort of circus you're about to throw up. The reality is it hasn't happened yet. And if it does happen, if you do get canceled or like if, something, you do run out of money, like then we'll take the necessary steps to, deal with that issue. But right now you're fine.
Do you worry about getting canceled?
Does everyone who does what we do worry about it on some level?
I think if they say no, they're lying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the idea that, oh, well, if you haven't done anything, you have nothing to worry about, I think is disingenuous.
I'd say being married with a kid and being faithful to my wife really has eradicated a lot of that worry, thankfully. Like I'd be more worried if I was dating or not really because I'm a good dude, but
but to your point, now people are out there. I mean, the truth is the cancel culture in some levels has become a cottage industry, so to speak, where people are making names for themselves by trying to like do background checks on other people and then criticize them for, saying something that they need to apologize for or a mistake they've made, right?
Sure.
Maybe I don't know what it is, but there are people out there trying to cancel people for things that people probably have or apologized for in the past. Like that's the idea. Like we've all done things that we should have apologized for. We've all made mistakes. We've all said, that was I'm sorry for saying that. And usually we don't even realize in the moment. Usually, especially when we were younger, we had to realize and been told and learned why that was wrong or why we hurt someone's feelings, et cetera, et cetera. But no, it's a real thing. And people are out there. And I think we do live in a time, it's a small group of people, but a group of people who are capitalizing on trying to out people because people are, again, making names for themselves. And we're, if you go on TikTok and you say something kind of catchy and critical, that's what goes viral.
Well, and I think it's such a different playing field now because a lot of the people who, are coming into the spotlight, like, I don't know exactly when this started, definitely like a few years older than me, if not further. Everyone has pretty much an online presence from at least, high school or college on. Now it's getting younger and younger of like even, elementary school, middle school, people are just putting stuff online. So then once you get a following, there's just stuff to dig through. I mean, like people don't have stuff that you wrote as a high schooler, I'm assuming.
I'm so thankful that I didn't get Twitter until like I was an adult. And the first I had Twitter, I didn't tweet, like I just followed sports teams. And so, like a lot of it is just like, I don't know. It's also like we all evolve and learn and change. And even a couple years ago, like I'm so grateful of how I evolved as a person and can recognize my ignorance from the past, in terms of, moving to LA. It's expanded my mind and my views on life. And I'm grateful for that. And it's weird. I think we have a culture that sometimes tries to, I don't think we live in a time, I'm wondering if you agree, where we're not interested in looking at our growth, and looking where we were and where we've gone and how we've grown and things that we maybe got wrong in the past or thought and said, I'm really glad I've evolved as a person. And instead of like, saying that's a good thing, we're more focused on sometimes, at least some people are more focused on what people did or said in the past that was things they had to apologize for.
Yeah, I think that to your point, and I feel lucky that when I got on social media, I'd been so media trained from being like a kid actor that as far as I know, there's nothing over the last, 14 years since I've been on social media or whatever it's been.
As far as you know.
But yeah, I mean, maybe a poorly worded tweet will come back to haunt me. But this is, I guess, what gives me a little bit of a reprieve or reassurance is that I find people get canceled for two reasons. Either they do something that is so glaringly unacceptable that they deserve to go away forever, or they're paying an asshole tax. That they've been awful for so long. They've treated people so poorly for such a long, basically just a long period of time that they found something to get them.
That's a good point. And I think there is some truth to that, where you just realize that like maybe they rubbed enough of people the wrong way.
Yeah, they mistreated people for long enough where they finally got them. But I feel like, and I would imagine maybe you'd feel similarly, if by being fallible and human, I eventually stick my foot in my mouth, which I probably will. It's possible. Well, then I find that your life becomes your defense because people will do a forensics on your life the moment you screw up. And they'll say, has there been behavior that would substantiate this or make us believe that this is who he really is, or this is the way he really thinks, instead of he was human and said something stupid and apologized. Yeah. And then your life sort of becomes the thing that vouches for you. And I sleep well at night knowing that like I don't lead a life that I'm ashamed of. And thus, if I do eventually screw up, which I'm sure I will in advance, I'm sorry, Mom. I feel like hopefully I'll be forgiven because they'll be like, this was out of character for him.
Kind of like taking it in the opposite direction of like, as opposed to people having to like dig through, for example, like past social media to find these things. You also have people on the other side of the spectrum who are very outward in sharing these things. Like, for example, Megan Fox on her own Instagram shared a screenshot of a text she had with her stylist where she asked, is this blue outfit expensive because we just cut a hole in the crotch so we could have sex with it? And so we're also in a time where we're seeing this very like exhibitionist, really out there behavior on social media. And I'm curious to what degree you think there's sort of like a cultural pressure or like just like the public is so hungry for new attention grabbing stuff, like, and to what degree you think it's just other people who want to present that for themselves.
I think it would have been better if she was like, was this expensive? I just cut a hole in it because I have diarrhea. Right? That would make me like
It's
Megan
the other
Fox more.
hole, Josh. It's the other way.
Well, we don't know how big the
You don't
hole
know
was.
that, Allie.
So she cut it, or is that what happened? She cut something in the crotch area.
She said, cut a hole in the crotch so we could have sex. And then included that like in a slide on her own Instagram grid of like photos of her in the jumpsuit.
Oh, so
And
Megan outed herself. It wasn't even
she
like
did
the
it herself.
stylist.
It was not leaked. She outed it.
She was like, I want people to know we did this.
They're very vocal with
Yes.
their sex life. We did it on the table at the Airbnb. Like they're constantly talking about it.
Which I guess good for them. I mean,
Josh is a very private person. He's told us this before.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just don't know how sustainable that level of like intense lust and attraction is.
Do you believe more in like a slow burn, like a friendship foundation?
I think here's what I think it is. I think that there's no such thing as love at first sight. I think there's attachment at first sight.
Mhm.
I think there's lust
Yeah.
at first sight.
Amen. Yeah.
But I think love is proven over time by someone who gets put in a position to be there for you, and they prove themselves to be worthy because they don't recoil in those situations. They step up and they're there for you. I always say love is when you have food poisoning and you're throwing up and that person doesn't judge you. They go get Gatorade and they make you an urgent care appointment, maybe a saltine. I don't know.
Beautiful said. So we do we know if either of those people would, yeah, that's to your point. Maybe had she had diarrhea
Sure.
and Machine Gun Kylie stepped up,
Got her Imodium.
we would feel stronger about their love rather than two hot people once again.
He'd be like, babe,
Having
a
sex.
red Gatorade, a little bit of
That
blood.
they can't even wait to
Little
take off
combo.
of their expensive clothing.
Why? I mean, like since we're none of us are therapists or doctors, should we psychoanalyze why Megan Fox decided to like? What was this desire to like let the world know that they did that? Because they're getting, I guess it's
I
just more
feel
attention.
like they're so just like rock and roll, blood drinking magic. Like I just
Do you buy it?
I just feel like they throw it out there. I feel like that's part of the allure is having people know.
I guess. I mean, and at the end of the day, they are celebrities who are aware and and like they're aware how this all works,
Right.
and they know it's going to be picked up and talked about.
As a married man, where do you think this goes for them? If they have a kid, if they like become a family, do they exchange blood with their children?
It seems very challenging to do it that much in the public eye.
Mhm.
And also just like that's how you know money doesn't buy happiness, with how much Elon Musk is in the conversation every day. Like if I had, what is it, $200 billion, you better believe I would not be tweeting that much. But so I think there's, a lot of pressure from the outside world. And when you have kids, when you're married, I think it has the possibility of eroding some of those, things that are important when you're worried about what the outside world is perceiving of you.
Yeah.
You have a new book coming out. I do. It's called Even Happy People Are Annoying.
Happy people are annoying.
Happy people, not even just happy
Just
people.
happy people.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with that title?
I spent most of my life believing that happiness was reserved for a certain class of people, the attractive, the generationally wealthy, handsome dudes with Midwest accents. I just assumed that I was not, I was an overweight kid who never met his dad and was like, oh, happiness just ain't a thing for guys like me. And I sort of assumed throughout my life that everyone sort of received a manual at birth of how to navigate the world. And I just didn't get that same manual. So my life and what I talk about in the book, it's sort of like views from the halfway point of like a guy at 35, how I was able to define happiness for myself and not think it was just reserved for that elite class.
I love that.
So we've been telling our audience that we're going to have you say something that you've never said before.
Oh boy.
Do you have anything for us?
Oh man. Now I feel
Just say something.
I feel so much pressure to perform.
I know. I wanted
have
to
a really
drop
neat
this bomb.
I love men. No.
If you could just read this.
The earth is flat.
I have a very niche question that would maybe What is the most exciting and then also most embarrassing title of a playlist that you have?
Ooh, that is niche. I do have playlists, but I don't get into, I have one playlist. It's called my photo shoot playlist because when I've had to do
I love that.
it's so bad.
It's so good.
I've done that before. You have to get in the right mindset because it's weird and vulnerable.
You feel that because you and I we're normal civilians. We're not professional, like pretty people. I mean, we're
Correct.
both nice
Correct.
looking people.
We are not Kendall Jenner.
You're incredibly lovely looking,
Thank
but
you.
like it's natural to feel a
Yeah.
little uncomfortable in front of the camera.
You got to get your right hype music. What's your hype song if you had one song?
Yeah, can you give us a little preview?
Let's see. Let me do a little investigation.
Are you public on Spotify? I want to listen.
I'm not. I'm too cheap to get a spot. I think my wife has one. Okay, hold on.
That's the news. Josh Peck will not pay for Spotify.
I'm trying to think of what. Okay, so it's nothing like too. I'm trying to think of like what's like my real hype. I got like Frank Ocean, Lenny Kravitz on here. It's not that cute.
Rocky theme song.
I do. I work out to the Rocky theme song sometimes. Yeah, the
Or
guitar solo.
Africa
Yeah, Phil Collins.
by Toto.
Wait,
Africa?
Isn't Africa?
No, Toto.
Wait, that's your hype song?
Yeah, I freaking love Africa.
That's your hype song?
Yeah, that or the Rocky
Allie,
theme
I
song.
love
Wait,
that for
isn't
you.
Africa a song from like the 80s?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
That's not Phil Collins?
Africa.
Yeah, it's Toto.
Yeah.
Who's Toto?
I don't know, that's a one
Is
hit
it like,
wonder.
like
Dude,
Kygo?
Google them, and it is so funny that they wrote a song called Africa. It's like they kind of look like Kid Rock to me.
I always thought it was Phil Collins.
We're breaking down.
I'm thinking of Genesis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I love that you have a photo shoot playlist.
It's bad, right?
It makes you feel more confident and prettier.
I need something.
I love that. Josh, we do this thing called office hours. We thought you'd be great at it. And so we booked 2.
I'd love it.
And let's get into it.
Please.
How's it going?
Hi, my name's Maggie and I'm 24.
How can we help, Maggie?
So I guess a little bit of backstory. I've been on 3 dates with this guy, which I haven't really gotten past the first date in a while since I've started dating again. The first and second dates were okay. Convo flowed well enough for me to go on more dates. The third date, he offered to cook me dinner at his place. And then, which was fine. Again, convo flowed really well. After dinner, we went to go watch TV. We were going to watch Friends, and he sat on a different couch than me, which was a little weird, threw me off guard big time.
So describe for us the living room situation. What are the seating choices?
Okay, so he had like 2 couches, 1 love seat, and then like a longer couch on different walls, but they like met like with an end table
I
next
think that's
to
a
him.
lot of couches for a single living room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot of
sack.
couches for, I guess, a smaller apartment in
Okay.
a big city. So
And you started watching together.
yeah, we were watching Friends together. Well, I like kind of sat in the middle of the bigger couch because I wasn't really sure like what was going on. And then I like turned around and he was already sitting on the other couch. And so then I was really thrown off and like kind of sat next to the armrest of the couch I was already on. And so then I was kind of like internally panicking, trying to decide what to do. We sat there for like 2 episodes. And then I like got up to go to the bathroom, texted my friends, and came back. And then finally, after like another episode, he moved over to my couch. And then still nothing, no moves, no like leg touch, nothing.
At this point, you were kind of when you said yes to dinner and a movie or dinner and Friends, in your mind, were you thinking was there any kissing on date 1 or 2?
We kissed on the second date.
Okay.
As we were saying goodbye. But yeah, I was expecting like
A little
something
makeout
at
session or
least.
something?
Yeah, makeout at least. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So then another episode goes by, still nothing. So then I'm like, okay, I've been here for like 3 hours. I'm going to leave. So I'm like getting ready to leave. And then he kisses me like by the door as I'm leaving, like make out a little, like mini, you know.
You made out at his door entry?
Yes, as I was leaving.
Sounds like a moment out of The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he walk you to your car?
No, I walked. So we live in like a bigger city where I can walk. So yeah, no,
He didn't walk you home.
No, didn't walk me home, which was fine.
Sure,
at
it's
that
fine.
point,
But like, I'm curious, what were your expectations? What were your hopes?
not that.
Not that.
I mean, my expectations were to like make out on this date. I was really thrown off,
Okay.
for like the last hour and a half of the date, and was trying to come up with excuses to leave. So, I mean, whatever. We did make out a little bit at the end, but at that point, I just really wanted to get out of there. It was more of like, this has to happen, not necessarily like I want it to anymore. So I don't know. But so yes, I get home and he's like, "Oh, that was such a great time." And then
You got home and he sent you a I had such a great time with you text.
Which
Yeah,
is
a text.
which is really nice.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like not enough guys do that.
True.
Probably.
A
yeah.
follow-up.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could just be dealing with like a really considerate gentleman who might just be
Overly.
Yeah.
Overly.
Yeah.
May I ask, and this is to your credit, Maggie, you seem to have like this wonderful, chill, relaxed energy about you. Is there any world where maybe, even though you guys had kissed on the second date, that he was not 100% sure yet that you were like down to clown, wanting to be more physical?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know, because we did text for like, we've been texting for like a month. So, and the texting is pretty flirty. So that's why I was like really thrown off in person too. Like our conversations in person were fine, but like nothing flirty. But over text, it, was more flirty. So then I at least assumed that he had some like experience and like could make a move to kiss me.
Yeah. Have you talked about previous dating experiences? Like, do you know maybe he's just like insecure with the physical stuff?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. We haven't talked about it at all.
Okay.
And I like couldn't find any, social media to do any, looking around.
How was dinner?
But dinner was really good.
That's big. Good question.
Yeah. Really clean.
What
clean
was the
apartment.
food? Yeah, give us the menu. That's all I care about. Enough of this
Yeah,
romance. What are we eating?
It was like pasta and baked chicken, and some vegetables. So yeah, it was really good.
Would you ever consider doing like a fourth date with him and just kind of going balls to the wall and like you putting for example, like if we were to reverse the clock, would you have felt comfortable? You went to the bathroom, coming back and just sitting right next to him, not going back to the couch? Like, are you comfortable putting the first foot forward?
Yeah, I did think about doing that. I think I like to think that I am, but when it comes to it, I like kind of freaked out a little. So I don't know. I don't know if I would. My friends think that I should consider a fourth date, but I am too like kind of weirded out about the whole separate couch situation.
And I'm reading this, like you referred to him giving you the ick, which I know obviously is a very popular feeling these days. So just to summarize, you had a couple of okay dates with this seemingly nice guy, right? Like he's nice.
Yeah.
And you were excited that he was nice because it sounds like up until this point you've had a series of first dates that for whatever reason didn't move to a second date, and that obviously is always encouraging, at least it's easy to get discouraged with dating. This was at least some excitement. And then he made you dinner, and this whole sitting on another couch really threw you off. And then the kiss goodbye was kind of awkward. And you wrote, it perpetuated the ick times 10. And so now you're kind of in your mind done with this situation. He, being the Boy Scout that he seems to be, is all super excited. Wants to hang out again, sounds like.
Yeah, he's asked me twice since
he's asked you twice.
Oof.
And now you are curious about sending a text to shut her down.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, I'm. This must be asked, and you gave a hint of it when you first introduced this story. You said when you were ready to date again. Are you coming off a breakup?
Not that reason. It's been like a year and a half, but I was in a like 5-year long relationship before that. So I've been on a handful of first dates, but again, like, you know, using the term the ick again, I feel like I get that pretty quickly. So it takes a lot for me to want to even go on a second date with someone. So that's kind of why I'm willing.
Is there a chance, and if I'm totally wrong, please tell me.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that maybe he's a little too nice, but maybe a little bit overly, you know, trying to do the right thing, read your mind? And is there also a chance that you're slightly protective of your feelings and yourself going into this thing, that maybe you're playing your hand a little close and he's trying to read your mind? So basically what's happening here is, in an effort to, what am I trying to say?
No, you're doing great.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
I'm following.
Okay,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I find like these things, everyone's got to put a little bit of skin in the game. Like, for me, I've got to like be willing to be shut down and like go in for the kiss and sit on the same couch and hope that, you know, I'm reading the tea leaves correctly. And conversely, I think it's important that the other person in that scenario is at least giving me a bit of a clear sign of like, yes, please come in. Let's see how this goes. Is there a chance that maybe he wasn't getting the clearest of signs from you?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
But also, to be clear, it was this couch situation that really, it just kind of changed everything for you.
Yeah.
And up until like, so I'm curious, if you could try to go back to your mind frame while you're eating pasta and chicken, and it was like, oh, that's pretty good. Like, what were you thinking about the potential of this relationship at dinner?
I would say, I mean, I'm not necessarily looking to be in another like relationship at this point. I'm just trying to get to know people and go on, you know, second, third, fourth dates. So I think that's probably where I didn't see myself actually like dating this guy or like calling him my boyfriend. Like,
okay,
I probably wasn't interested enough in him for that at all. But it was like the dates were fine enough to continue.
I want to challenge you a little bit with like, what is your goals for dating right now?
Getting to know other people, because I've only been in one like long relationship.
Okay. So, and I don't really have an answer, but like, so, because like once you start going on a third or fourth date, I think for most people at that point, there's an expectation of this could go somewhere. And that's where maybe you're just like, hey, I don't see it going somewhere. Yeah. And I'm only challenging, you know, because you express some disappointment on trying to get to a second or third date. And I'm just wondering if your main goal is to just kind of play the field, which, hey, go for it. Then just make sure you're not getting too disappointed when a first date doesn't work out, because it sounds like you are accomplishing that goal of getting to know a lot of people a little bit. Because there is a balance between like when do you expect, let's assume you go on a date and everyone likes you. When do you think is the appropriate time to what are you looking for? I mean, it can't be just getting to know as many people as possible.
I mean, I guess I would say like I'm open to being in a relationship with someone who like excites me and like someone that I'm actually interested in.
Okay. Yeah. So you are open to being in a relationship. It's just not this guy. Look, you're in a tough situation, right? Because, and I think that's probably pretty relatable. I think we have to remember that the ick is not a non-negotiable. It's a pet peeve. And when it comes to dating, I think a lot of people treat the ick like a non-negotiable. Now, you shouldn't have to force yourself to go on dates with people you're not enjoying their company. But I think there is definitely something to be said about, kind of like to Josh's point, like, I think dating has changed than where it used to be. Expectations have changed with men and women. And I think, you know, from a guy's point of view, especially for guys who are actively listening to like what women are saying about, you know, the frustrations women are having in the dating scene. And they, you know, want to be thought of as respectful kings and all these, and maybe they can get in their head about, like, to Josh's point, reading a situation a little bit differently, you know, and wondering if it's like, I don't know, maybe he's like thinking I want her to like sit by me, and then he didn't. Like, maybe, I don't know, it's stupid, sure, but he was thinking, oh, I'll just sit here, and maybe his way of seeing if you were into him would be like you would, I don't know, somehow like change couches in this like sea of couches in this living room.
And maybe he's like in his mind keeping a tally, because I'd be like, I invited her over, I cooked, Now I'm like saying, let's watch Friends, which is really like, we know we've all seen every episode. We're not really
Yeah.
engaged in the
Yeah,
content.
that's definitely
Yeah.
like let's
Where's her move? You know,
Yeah.
like I feel like I've made it pretty clear. I'm interested and I wanna hang out.
Yeah.
I guess I just felt really off guard because it was his apartment. So I didn't really know like where he usually sits. And so I just kind of, went for like the bigger couch. Also, I will note that like he got out coasters for our drinks, but set them next to like the opposite couches. So like his coaster was next to the armrest of the small couch and mine was next to the armrest of the big couch.
I mean, the
So
fact
then
that there's a guy who uses coasters, I'm really impressed.
I mean,
with.
yeah. So that also threw me off, which is why I like originally sat in the middle because then I was like, I'll just sit far away from my drink.
I
But
gotta
then
say that you trying to read the coasters sounds like you're pretty invested in this kid. Like,
Well, actually, what it means to me is that you are detail oriented and you pay attention to little things, and that can be a good thing in life and it can be a bad thing in life. And when it comes to dating and knowing very little about someone and the complicate, like with dating and all these kind of emotions and fears, I think you can do yourself a disservice by overreading little situations like that. And someone like
Yeah.
yourself, I think you're more prone to giving yourself the ick by over interpreting something someone's doing or not doing.
I offer this for the group think. Is there anything to be lost by having a fourth date with a little skin in the game, by putting it not all out there, but with all this now in your mind, like changing your strategy slightly, because either he shows a side of himself that you're pleasantly surprised by, or you learned so much through this process that'll better equip you for the next person that you date with?
Yeah, there's that. Also, just to add on, what if, again, I'm sure you're very busy and we don't want to suggest that you have time to waste. But if you had like a free Wednesday coming up, like, and you went on a fourth date, what if you just like brought this up? Like, is it that crazy to just say, hey, can I ask you something? I was a little thrown off. I mean, especially since it's a guy that you're not even overly excited about. You called in asking for like, how can we text this guy? See you later. And maybe there's some like fact finding to find out, because it might be an opportunity to figure out like, were you reading him right? He might have been like, I'll be honest, I was like, I've been talking to my friends about like, I thought it was kind of weird that you did X, Y, or Z. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And since you're on this journey of learning more about people, and I'm, holding you accountable for what you said. I mean, I know you want, but like this could be a way to kind of learn about, how people are approaching different things and situations, because a lot of your getting the ick is how you read a situation. And we don't know if we read it right or if we read it wrong. You might get a lot of information about like reading a situation. And to Josh's point, whether it's for this guy or future dates, I feel like it might help you out, because I'd be willing to bet that the way you read it, as someone who's nitpicking every like thing, I don't think you got it all right. I don't know if you got it all wrong, but I bet you thought one thing and you might find out something else. And just knowing that might serve you well, as opposed to like, and I know I'm an overthinker. I pay attention to little things. And once you get an idea like wrapped in your head, it just kind of mutates and turns into this thing where you're just like, yeah, I know this is the situation, and we can be very off in those moments. So,
and I think it's fascinating. You haven't really said a negative thing about him. You've only referenced the feeling that you got from what seems like a miscommunication. Like, and there's some very clear, like, if he was like, yeah, I'm a flat earther, then maybe you would have just been like, I can't have kids with a flat earther. Like, it would have just been very clearly, but it seems like the reason why you're wrestling on even how to best word the exit text is because you can honor at least that this guy in many ways checked a couple boxes, but it seems like he was kind of a dunce in other areas.
He's also excited about you.
Yeah.
Well, we all have to end things at some point. All right. So let's answer your question that you came to ask for. Like, if and when you decide to end it, how do you do that? I think we
Mhm.
all agree that like a fourth date wouldn't be the worst idea. Like, I think it's going to help you like just change your pattern, help you get out of your comfort zone, like try new
Mhm.
things out. You know, like I do think we have to in dating situations just like try something different, you know? And to Josh's point, like there's no reason not to other than like you don't want to waste your time and your time is valuable. I get that. But you might learn something and it's such a fine line between getting excited about someone and having someone be excited about you that I, this guy could, you know, there was a moment why I asked you about how you felt about dinner is like I was wondering like when it really changed. And up until this point, it doesn't sound like you were ever that excited about him. It was just kind of okay.
Yeah.
Is that definitely true, or have you rewritten
Yeah.
how you feel about the first 2 dates?
No, I mean, in person, yes, I would say the dates are like okay. Like we had texted a little bit before we went on a first date, which made me like excited, nervous for the first date, and then it was like okay. So then I was like, okay, I'll go on a second, and then a third. So yes, the dates like nothing overly exciting,
Is
but
there a
conversation flowed the whole time, every time. So
is there a world like when I said you don't seem too thrilled about the idea of going on a date just to ask him about a third date?
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. My friends have been telling me to do that. So,
And don't you
but
think
I feel like I just got so weirded out, and like it just the thought of seeing him again, really, I was really opposed. But it's been over a week now, so I don't know, maybe.
But I think it's a trap too when people, and rightfully so, no one wants to waste their time. And especially if you're in the dating game and you want to potentially have a long term relationship with someone, you certainly don't want to waste time. But I don't think there's wasting time with someone who has proven themselves on some level to be of value. And what will be revealed, whether you end up with them or not, will better equip you for your next relationship. Like, obviously, you shouldn't waste time with fuckboys who make it very clear that they have like no interest in something that's like serious.
Yeah.
But I also think that's a trap people fall into too of like, if by the third date we haven't picked out baby names, I'm out. Like, cause that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Right.
If you wanted to end it now, like, could you send a text? Yes, you could just, and it would be, and it's going to be awkward and cringe because, like, and it's going to go some version of like, hey, sorry, you can make up some sort of lie, busy, because, the truth is a little unnecessary. Sorry, I've been avoiding you. And you just say, I really enjoy my time with you. I just don't see it going further. Like, you're the greatest person in the world. I hope, whatever. And it's that,
Yeah.
right? And you do that so he doesn't call you a ghoster, right?
Mhm.
And that would be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go on a date, you could FaceTime him. You can jump on the phone. You could just have that conversation, not on a date. You could be like, you could call him like, hey, you could just say, hey, sorry, I've been busy. Are you free to chat tonight at some point? You get on a FaceTime and just be like, I'm just going to be honest with you. I was a little thrown off by our last date, which is why I just haven't responded because I wasn't really sure what to make of it. Can I
Mhm.
ask you? And, is that conversation going to be awkward? Sure, a little bit. I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, people might. I mean, he could just easily be like, I don't know. I was just kind of I was getting a sense that maybe you didn't want to, and I didn't know what to do. And again, it's nowadays, like, again, for guys who are out there listening to what women are saying about their frustrations in dating, they're proceeding with more caution because they don't want to make assumptions. They don't want to, have an awkward moment. Like, I'd rather agree with me too, Josh. I would rather have a girl, if I was dating still, I'd rather have her tell her friends I gave her the ick than I was creepy or weirdly aggressive or
Yeah.
not respectful. I'll take ick all day long,
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying it's like a possibility, and just you might learn something, and he might learn something too. You would be doing him a favor by at least like giving him some feedback on what threw you off. And
Yeah.
all it is maybe a slightly awkward conversation that I feel like you're more than capable of having. And
Mhm.
I think it will it'll help you in the future for sure.
And the good news is you'll never have, by putting some skin in the game, maybe by chance you get a great turnout, which is that all of a sudden he mans up and you're like, wow, you are pretty great. Or what the byproduct of that'll be, you'll have no regrets and you'll never wonder. Because you'll
Yeah.
be like, I did my due diligence. It was clear. I allowed myself to be slightly vulnerable and awkward. And the result was I don't ever have to wonder in 5 years what happened to, let's call him Greg.
Yeah.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
Greg.
And like, no matter what his answer is, you can still decide not to like go out with him again.
I
Yeah.
remember at 18, after I lost 120 pounds, and I went on like my first proper date with a girl. I don't even think it was a date, but we had like spent a little time together. And I asked permission to kiss her. And she said, wow, you've really made it awkward. And I made a mental note that I will never say that again. And so it triggered in my mind, like, oh, the guy has to be the one to make the move. And that's not necessarily the healthiest idea either. And so,
Right.
Yeah, because not everyone might agree with that point
Absolutely.
either, right? So,
Mhm.
you know, so I mean, you talk to certain people, especially when it comes to consent, and there's no like never assume.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very tricky out there, which is kind of my whole point bringing it on. It's just like I think we have to try to be gracious to people we're out there dating and try to give them a benefit of the doubt, and just remember that icks aren't non-negotiables. And you have the right to walk away. You owe this guy absolutely nothing, but you can give someone an ick and still want to marry them someday, for sure. It's possible out there. We can turn people off. All of us have not been our best selves. And also, like, why I think you should, like, don't burn a bridge, too, because it is the first guy who you wanted to go on a third date with.
Yeah.
So
And I'll probably see him around too.
you definitely have a potential awkward conversation coming up, but I think you are capable of having that conversation. And
Yeah,
and
that's
if
a
you
good
wanted
idea.
to send a text, no judgment, and just short and sweet. Just be like, hey, just not. And my only advice to that is don't lie. Don't give them false hope. Don't
Yeah.
just tell them you don't like them. It's fine. It might
Right.
sting a little bit. I know, but like people, on the other end, it's always like, yeah, maybe, it's like, that's why I think people should just be honest, because like they can get that closure. They can move on. They can just, not worry. People will have a way of saying things that they want to soften the blow, but they give that excited person some false hope.
But you can be gentle.
Yeah, I don't think she should be a jerk,
Right.
but I just think you should be honest.
Yeah.
Are you physically attracted to him?
Not really.
Oof, should have started with that.
Okay.
Which is why it was, conversation was good. And I was trying, thinking maybe something would build. And then, the kissing wasn't great. So I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That would have made this much shorter.
I'm still glad we had this conversation, but I still stand by all of it. But yeah, I think you're just not into him.
Yeah.
But you were, and
Yeah.
it's hard to answer this question, but if you thought he was like super hot,
Mhm.
how do you think you would have interpreted the couch situation?
I probably still would have thought it was really weird. But I might have been more willing to like try to make a move myself.
Okay.
Like I probably would have been more willing to come out of the bathroom and like sit next to him. But at that point, I don't know.
I don't know if anyone will agree with me, but I definitely think getting more information can't hurt anyone, and it
Yeah.
might, if nothing else, consider you're doing him a favor,
Right.
because it does, the way you described it sounded pretty weird, and I think
Yeah.
most women would probably get the same feeling you got. Maybe you
Yeah.
just give him a note in the future. He might hate you. He'll never say that. He'll never appreciate it, but I think you'll be helping him out.
That's fine.
All right.
All right.
All right. Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.
All right. Take
Yep.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
How's it going?
Hi, I'm Grace and I'm 22.
How can we help, Grace?
So I would love your help with sending a first text message to someone. So just to give a little bit of background to you. So I moved away from my hometown to go to college and then moved again to a different city after graduating. But I go visit my parents in my hometown a lot. And one of the last times I was there, I was visiting my mom, playing pickleball, one of her favorite hobbies. And her pickleball coach, I have a crush on him. And I kind of like spent the weekend
Your mom's
with him, but
pickleball
not
coach?
my mom's pickleball coach.
Nice.
But he's much more like my age than my mom's age, just for clarification.
It's fine, whatever.
I didn't spend the weekend with like just him. Obviously, my mom was very much there too, playing pickleball. But I don't really know him that well. Just kind of have a crush on him. Didn't see him since that, but we kind of did like a mutual social media following. And I really just want to like reach out to him. And I'm not sure whether I should kind of send just a conversational text or if I should kind of like try to plan a date for the next time that I'm home. So kind of wondering how far I should go with that initial text.
Does your mom know of your interests?
Oh yeah, my mom knows.
What's your mom's read on this guy?
Oh, I think she thinks he's a great guy. She likes him a lot. Like all of her friends are a big fan of him. So
I
think
too
he
have a
passes the mom
pickleball
test.
coach. I haven't gone and seen him in a while, but he works with a lot of the women at the country club. He works with the guys. I mean, he works with everyone, but a lot of his clients are women, all of which I think are trying to like set him up and that type of situation too, you know. And I'm wondering, is that the vibe? Are people trying to set him up? Is it like is everyone having fun with this pickleball coach in terms of like? You don't know?
I don't get the sense that that's the case. No, and I do know for a fact that he's single. So I know, I don't know. I guess I don't know if other people are trying to set him up, but I don't necessarily think that's the vibe.
And how's your mom's pickleball game? Getting better? Is he a good coach?
Oh, just amazing. Yeah. I mean, I would say he's a good coach for sure.
She's stay out of the kitchen.
Yeah. She's the better pickleballer than me.
So
for sure.
Pickleball talk for anyone who doesn't know.
I will. Yeah. I'm not very good.
Me either.
Stay out of the kitchen. Yeah, for sure. I always get into the kitchen.
It's hard because
yeah,
you want to slam it.
You do. If I'm him, just a heads up, like, who knows how professional this guy is or isn't, but I would have serious hesitation about dating the daughter of a client.
Yeah.
Because you really, like, who knows how it goes. Like, I worry about things and I look for the holes in things. So it would just be one of those situations where you're talking about a very gossipy atmosphere potentially. Does he want to be a part of potential gossip? Even if it goes really well, it's all of a sudden his dating life and personal life is all over the country club or wherever it is he's coaching. So that's a possibility and something to consider. And if nothing else, if it doesn't go the way I still think you should shoot your shot, but I'm just saying, if nothing else, that'll be a way to tell yourself, you know what? It's not me. It'll be it'll help your ego in case it doesn't go the way you want.
Right.
How do you write this text? Have you met him?
Oh yeah.
What's your rapport with this guy?
I mean, like, I know him in a pickleball context for sure, but he's a funny guy. He's really easy to talk to. He's really nice, like very genuine.
You have his number? You have his number?
Yeah.
And may I ask, as a 22-year-old, lovely, sparkly person, how open are you to some version of a fling? Like some version of an experience that this might just be like a fun couple of weeks and a little secret you two have?
The thing is, I honestly could see it just being like a one and done date kind of thing, since I don't live in this town. He's in my hometown and I'm not there. So I'm like, it could just be kind of like a one date and nothing goes anywhere.
You can use that to your advantage.
Yeah.
I know exactly. And when do you leave town?
I'm not there right now, but I'm going to be back next month for about like a week and a half.
Okay, perfect. You're only there for a week and a half. So you shoot him a message and you're like, hey, I'm going to be in town, blah, blah, blah. Looking for things to do. I was wondering if you would show me around or something, right? Like, and that way it's like, takes a little bit of pressure. It's some version of that, right? It's
right.
Yeah.
And you could call it a date, or you could play a little coy, or you could call it a date, but you're just like, I'm going to be in town. I don't have, I don't want to say you don't have much to do, but
and I also don't really need him to show me around because it is my hometown.
No, I know, but like it's
have
still.
A night or two free.
I want you to be able to take advantage of the fact that like you're there for a temporary period of time
Right.
and you're not super available, and that might take the pressure off of him.
Right.
So I feel like you want to use the fact that you are coming into town.
But can't she say
Okay.
like, I'll have a night or two free. If you want to grab a drink, let me know.
Yeah, she could. I'm just trying to think if there's like a clever way of doing this. I don't
Yeah.
have it yet.
It's like
Any ideas?
how to be
Crowdsource?
casual yet specific. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah, I don't think you should be coy.
Sometimes it's hard, like throwing out a couple nights. I mean, you've pressured me. Not pressured. That sounds wrong.
Jesus.
You've
See?
encouraged
This is
me.
why-
Coerced. You mean
You've
Yeah.
encouraged me
This is why we don't hang
before.
out.
Fair.
You've encouraged me before to be more specific and like demand more of a plan. But this is kind of a different.
This is a little different.
You want to be casual, chill. Oh, it's a fine line.
I definitely think you want to put yourself out there, but I feel like
Is there like a divey bar that has like any either like pool or darts or something where you can be like, I want to see if like your skills at blah 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 or anything like
Yeah.
that?
Shuffleboard,
Yeah.
foosball.
Is there like
Off the court.
he plays
Winky.
pickleball. This guy likes to compete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like even
It's
like an
very-
arcade.
A Buster's?
What
Yeah, do you
about
have, like, a Buster's?
Dave and Buster's?
Yeah.
Go to an arcade.
maybe a Shakey's?
It's very much a small town in the Midwest. So I'm not like, we do not even have Dave and Buster's there, but I'm sure there's like something similar. Like, you know, there's
Yeah.
bars with
Like
darts. and
pool or
stuff.
like literally any like
Yeah, yeah,
small
yeah.
little game, and then you send like a flirty little competitive text that's like
Or is
there a mini
something-
golf?
What about active?
Oh yeah.
Because he's an active guy. Like, is there a hike? No, is that bad?
And that's fine. No, I like here. I was thinking mini golf. It doesn't matter really what it is, right?
Right.
Mini golf, darts. I don't fucking care. And you could send him a text that says, "I've been really working on my mini golf game, and I want to like test out my skills.
Yeah.
Maybe, like,
Are
you're
you
not the
down
only
for a
one
friendly
with me."
competition?" And then and then it depends how brave you want to be. Like maybe, and if it goes well, winner gets a makeout or something. I don't fucking know. That could
Too
be
much. Too much. Too much.
Ah.
You can how about like if the first game goes well, then you can like up the ante and be like want to do a bet. But I feel like in a text that's a lot.
I don't know. You said he's a funny guy who likes to joke around.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's a fine line. It really is.
I think
but-
that's better to be said in person.
yeah. You could do that.
Yeah. Once you suss out the vibes.
I have written on a second date text like, "Hey, do you want to hang out with asterisk?"
Yeah.
Not bad. Not
It's
not
good.
the
That's
worst.
Yeah.
good.
That's good. That's what I'm saying. It's something like that. Like, thank you,
Right.
Josh. It's a
Hey.
little, sense of humor.
Yeah.
You do. My point of saying that is you do want to make sure he knows it's a date,
Mm.
Hmm.
right?
Right.
We're both like
Hmm.
So, yeah, like how do we ask him
So what
out
is the
without
venue?
saying, "Do you want to go on a date?" Without him knowing in the back of mind it's still a date, but also like take the pressure off him of like going out with his client's daughter.
couldn't you just combine like something like you said of, I want to see if you're like combining Amanda's and Nick's of like, I want to see if your such and such game is as strong as your pickleball, but like
Yeah,
you can
there
put
you
a
go.
smiley face or a winky face on the end of it.
Yeah.
No,
No.
You just said, how do we imply it's a date?
but I don't know if a wink is this like wink.
Okay, I think first text is like, do you have the venue in mind? Like, do you have like the whatever game place?
Yes, I've got a mini golf.
Perfect. All
Perfect.
right.
Okay, perfect. So you can be like, hey, like I'm gonna be back in town and so, like, would like, do you want to like play a game like a round of mini golf? Like we can see if you're whatever as good as like
Yeah,
pickleball.
you say I'm
skill."
dying to know if your mini golf game's as good as your
But then like
pickleball game.
Mhm.
and then you can do a follow-up text if you're really trying to be flirty. You can be like, yeah, can't wait to test out that hand-eye coordination. And then it's vaguely sexual. There's no bad ideas in brainstorming, people.
I, can,
think that's great.
I can see it.
That's great.
It depends on how bold
think-
you want to go.
Yeah.
I
I'm
would
feeling
not go
kind
that
of-
sexual,
I'm
but
feeling
that's just
kind
me.
of- I was gonna say, I'm
I
feeling
like how many
very
strokes.
I think
are
it's
you
good for a
Like, I feel
follow
like-
up, right? No, I think that's good for a follow up. You said,
Yeah.
if he,
Ask about the mini golf. If he's really into it, then you could make a little like rah.
great.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
It's a
suss
follow-up
it out.
text.
Yeah. Not all in one. I like that. Split it up.
All right, let's draft it.
All right. And here's the thing. I don't think I can send it right now because I think I need to wait until like a little closer to when I'm going to be back in
How
town. So
when
I don't
are
want
you-
to say like, hey, I'm going to be home in a month. So I'll be
Oh, you're not
back.
going to be
around
home in a
like-
month? Oh,
You'll
you're
be there around Labor
It'll
Day.
be like the second. Yeah, I'll be there. around
getting my
Christmas.
year lined up.
Yeah, I'll be there like the second week of June. So like,
Okay, yeah,
almost-
you have some time.
So I'm-
yeah, you want to
I'm
do
thinking,
this
like,
like a week
about a
ahead
week
of time.
out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. A week to 2 weeks.
throwing it out there. The only reason to send it a little earlier is it's an opportunity to see how interested it is in building like a ongoing text rapport, so that like you really warm things up for mini golf.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you
Yeah.
want too long to build. I think you can still get the builds in like a few weeks, you know?
I think 2 weeks might be the
Yeah.
ideal.
2 weeks before?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
Set a reminder on your phone.
Send this text. Okay.
Started with, "Hey boo." No,
Hey,
that's
hey
happening?
boo.
No.
Hello,
mom-
lover.
That's my mom.
Hey pickle baller, pickle big baller. No, I'm kidding.
Does he already know that you're coming back at this time? Because like I would start it with maybe be like, hey, like just booked like
No, she
a
doesn't
trip
know.
home.
He doesn't know.
Wait, why does
Yeah,
he?
he doesn't know.
So he already has your number. Did I miss?
Yeah, why
that?
does he have your
I-
number?
Oh, he doesn't have my number. I have his number. It's because of like the whole, it's very much the pickleball thing. Like if I wanted to schedule
You
like,
follow each other on Instagram?
training with him. Yes.
I think you should DM this.
Agreed.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Slide.
So it's
Okay,
like
okay,
a
okay.
mutual. We're getting in deep.
He's
here.
already said yes to this form of communication. And then like
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
texting him might be like, hey, by the way, I have your number.
Yeah, that
You
is
don't have to
odd.
explain why you have his number.
I would almost say that a way in is over the next week or so, when you see an Instagram story you think is appropriate, you write something because you follow each other. You write "so
Right.
crazy" or "wow, you really helped her stroke," and or "I love your sock height." And then from there, if he replies and you go, "funny that we're chatting, I'm gonna be in town in a week
Yeah.
or so."
Is he viewing your stories?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
nice.
I definitely
Yeah,
like
I've been
like sneak
watching.
some thirst traps in there a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say you gotta have like a story up when you send the DM that you feel like good about, that you feel powerful in.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like, hey, Matt.
Hey,
No, and I think it's gonna be like, I'm dying to know if your mini golf game is as good as your pickleball game.
Okay.
I'll be in town. Lynn, I
What?
think we should get together.
Okay. I like that. I like that. I'm setting a reminder.
And then
I love
he
this for you.
responds, and then he responds, hopefully yes. And then you say, great, because I'm dying to know if your hand and eye coordination is what did you say?
I'm
Amanda?
dying to see your hand-eye coordination. Or like want to put your hand-eye coordination to the test.
Perfect.
Or, and if you win,
And-
I can put the seat back in my Toyota RAV4 and we can see what happens. No, okay.
Asterisk.
And if he says no, I can never play pickleball again.
Is that
Uh,
too much? That's not that much of a loss. Right?
I mean, if I'm him and he says no for whatever reason, I 100% use the client relationship excuse.
Oh, see, then you're
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
fine. Then you go back to pickleball everything
Right.
as well.
And I'm just
Yeah.
like, hey, you're great, but like, I just have this policy, which
Mhm.
also he might have.
Yeah.
Policy.
I think the second text is watch out, you're not the only one with good hand-eye coordination.
Oh, there you go,
Oh,
Amanda.
yeah.
Nice.
Because then that's like
I
putting it
love
on
it.
you.
Yeah.
It's
also,
not
like, he's competitive, and he's just
Yeah.
gonna.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Great. Let us know how it
Perfect.
goes.
I will.
All right.
And I just want to say my best friend and I are huge fans of the show, and we're rooting for you to get Harry Styles
Oh, same.
on.
Josh Peck is a close second to
Thank
Harry
you so
Styles.
much.
Oh, obviously. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it. Tell your best
Thanks so
friend.
much. Great to
as
meet
well.
you. You guys are
Thank
the
you
best.
as well.
Maggie, you have to tell us how this goes. Please
Yeah,
send
we
us an
wanna
update
know.
Yeah.
after the fact.
I will.
Send us
I
that
will.
update.
Okay.
Okay, yay.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. Well, Josh, success.
What a great two callers. Like,
Yeah, fun.
one a little serious, one fun. And
Yeah, playful, and we try to mix it up.
Love
You're a delight to talk to.
thank you so much for having me. This was great.
We really enjoyed it. If you are ever in the area and you want to come back for questions with Nick, our other show, we would
Mhm.
love to have you back.
I'm on. I'm in.
We think you'd
I'm
be
in
very
all of
good.
it. Thank you.
Please let my audience know where they can follow you, find you, all the upcoming things, your podcast, promote it all.
My podcast is called Male Models for obvious reasons. I know you get it. And I have a new book out called Happy People Are Annoying, which you can find anywhere you find books.
Happy people are annoying.
A little bit.
You want to come back?
I want to be in the crew.
We are a crew, Josh. It's already a thing.
Thanks
Yeah.
for coming, Josh. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Have a great week, everybody. Hey guys, thanks for watching, but before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos like our Mondays Ask Nick for your favorite relationship stories and advice, and our Tuesday Bachelor recaps. See you next time.